Enhanced 224 to 176. Track 45 right. Stop. Center and stop. Enhanced 34 to 36. Pull out track right. Stop. Center and pull back. Stop. Enhance. Stop. Give me a hard copy right there.
To see the dark hole of hell, all you have to do, Chumba, is venture south in the Night City. With each block looking more and more like a burnt out wasteland, you will eventually reach an area known as the Combat Zone. The Combat Zone is never safe. Sure, you can get in and out again, maybe even twice if you're lucky, but even the high rollers at the Hacienda wouldn't give you the odds on it, and that's saying something. I mean, entire security teams have disappeared in the zone, and not even the police are willing to go to town there anymore. So you get the picture? About the only professional organization that will enter the zone is the trauma team, and even then, only with a state-of-the-art firepower backing them up. It's a place where there are no street lamps to mar the shadows, no monitor cameras to watch the illegal deals, and no cops to interfere. A burnt-out sprawl of tenements, abandoned factories, boarded-up offices, and trashed shopping malls, occupied only by the desperate, the devious, and the dead. During the light of day, the zone sleeps under its industrial-strength pall of smog, but at night, the zone comes alive, for it's only then that its most feared residents venture out of their sweltering sewer holes and rat-infested hovels to prey on the less fortunate. Of all the meanest streets of 21st century, the zone is the meanest. Firefights are a way of life, combat drugs and doves are a way of choice, with brutal, sudden death being constant option. When the night descends, the predators slither out and the city howls. After the demise of Richard Knight, the gangs established themselves firmly on the streets of Night City, with the territories mostly being determined by infighting and economic statistics. As gangs started staking claims on every corner of the city, the violent incidents and drug wars spread across the city like wildfire. To combat this, the police and security corporations began a short-lived but unprecedented period of collaboration. Corporations such as Arasaka, Militech and Lazarus banded together with the police, the unified main goal being to try to push the gangs out of the areas where the most of the corporate interest lay. Furthermore, draconic and unconstitutional laws were being passed favoring victimization of any gang activities or affiliations. Arrests were being made by the score, and properties were seized and sold for pennies to corporations. In time, the gangs had been pushed out of the corporate areas of the Night City and right into the slums of the south. So what happened to the gangs? Well, the bigger ones survived by restructuring themselves and establishing new territories within the zone, whereas smaller ones were either flatlined, merged or disbanded altogether, as their members ended up either in prison, dead, or, if they were lucky, recruited into surviving gangs. Slowly but surely, the gangs were pushed into smaller and smaller area. The loosely defined and now overflowing combat zone had its official borders drawn up, and the area became off limits to everyday beavers and other city folks. It became a destination for people who lost their homes, outlaws who were on the run from the law, and other darker entities who wished to remain under the radar. Even some of the workforce that were dedicating themselves to the dream of Reach at Night and the Night City found themselves in a squalor of the zone. Whilst all this worked out in City Council's favour, it didn't do much good for the common folk who got trapped there, with only options left for them was to either perish or take the law into their own hands. It became the survival of the fittest in the zone. You either die like the street scum that you are, or you live long enough to become a gang member. And that was the way of the zone. Right, so listen up you primitive screwhead. If you're still insisting on going to the combat zone, there are a few things you should know. Navigating the zone is difficult, as most of the street signs have long been removed by the gangs, often serving as weapons or armor. If you're a newcomer or a temporary visitor of the zone, then I would advise you to find a guide. Learn to recognize the gang territories and what is the proper show of respect. Be prepared to be stopped randomly and either be searched or convinced to make a voluntary contribution, for the development of the zone. Therefore, it is advisable to always carry some extra cash in you when you are in the zone. If you don't have any money, then food, drugs, guns and ammunition will all make reasonable second choices. The thing with the zone is that no one knows how they survive there. The information usually flows into the zone and not the other way around, so data on that is a bit limited, but they do somehow, right? However, what we do know is that things are constantly being smuggled in either by nomads or other adventurers who seek to make a quick Eurobuck from the misery of others. Either way, the zone always adapts. Whilst you won't find any farmland in there, any patch or useful space will be exploited and anything that can grow will be grown there, even if it's not much. Besides, all kinds of shady characters have an ongoing deals with the ones in a combat zone. There is no such thing as a bad business when it comes to the zone, and trust me, if it's available in the Night City, sooner or later it will find its way to the zone. Things like chew is usually locally produced and is used to power vehicles and also for personal consumption. I mean, what you got to lose? You either melt your brain with that stuff or you will flatline to Full Metal Jacket sooner or later anyway. So who cares? Live a little, stay true to the edge. You will find some underground clubs and raves scattered across the zone, which you can visit at your own risk, but it's safe to say that you ain't going to find folks like Johnny Silverhand or any others visiting such places, so you've been warned. If you're looking for a night of pleasure, then there are brothels in a combat zone, as with any vice that this world has to offer, and I will leave the morality of that something for you to decide, Chumba. What you should know is that some of the largest brothels in the zone usually have girls who are being forced to work for the service they provide. However, if you have enough Eurobucks, then places like Tokyo Rose are a complete opposite, with girls choosing themselves to provide the service. Whilst the choice is yours, you will get what you pay for. Other commodities such as electricity and water are provided mostly by renegade netrunners who wish to remain outside of the reach of the law. At one point, the city council did try to cut the zone off, however, after some compromising feeds and scream sheets of its members started appearing around the Night City, those things were dropped and forgotten rather quickly. As for police, well, in general, they would only enter when they are trying to find someone who has caused trouble outside of the zone. And because of this and many other factors, theft, assault, rape and murder are rampant, and the only punishment is meted out by the inhabitants themselves. So you see, Chumba, living life like this can be fairly rough for healthy males. That is, if you're lucky. However, if you're a female, well, then pack your bags, say your prayers and give up all hope, as life will be like living hell for you. The truth is that majority of the people who live in a zone are just everyday folks in a near inescapable prison of poverty and despair. The worst part is they can look over and see the wonders of the Night City spread right out before them. The combat zone is extremely overpopulated and home to every vice and crime that you can imagine. And of course, everything that's forbidden in the Night City is a definite go in the zone.
When we face death, life is like a puppet on a festival cart. As soon as one string is cut, it crumples and fades.
You can hear them moving up fast, faster than your meat legs can carry you. There's a snick as they pop the rippers and move in for the kill. Your mind is racing, you flatten against the alley wall, and you brace your Minami against the slick and slimy stone. It's now or never, you think, slamming back the bolt and offering up a prayer to whatever dark and nameless god that might be listening. Maybe, just maybe, if you'd stop to download some information from the data term before you walk right into the sharp end, you wouldn't be here right now, waiting to become a booster's latest mutilation victim. Good luck, Chumba. If you survive this, I will see you in the future. Or is it the dark future?